Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am so good. Thank you
Thank you so much for wanting to come on an episode. I'm
for
sorry, what?
inviting me. I'm very excited and a little nervous.
Oh, no, don't be nervous at all. I was so excited that I would have the chance to chat with you on an episode because I absolutely loved your book, Wild in Minnesota. It was so funny. Like your writing style is right up my alley, and so I am really glad that I got
Yay.
to read that.
Well, thank you. It's my honor that you read it.
Yeah, yeah, it was such a great time reading it. I loved the characters, I loved everything.
Thank you.
Yeah, for our listeners out there, we have the amazing Mary Lee Painter in the room with us, virtually anyway, to talk all about her book, Wild in Minnesota. For those who have not read it, do you want to explain a little bit of what they can expect from it?
Sure. It's romantic comedy, and that, of course, in Minnesota. And basically, our female main character is a traveling nurse who has come back home to be the maid of honor in her cousin's wedding. And kind of chaos ensues as she is preparing, doing her wedding bridesmaid duties, and she ends up face to face with her brother's hockey teammate. I've always been a huge fan of Minnesota Wild hockey. So when I decided to write something, it had to be a Minnesota Wild hockey player. So, yes, and it's kind of that forbidden love and sneaking around a little bit. It takes place the bachelorette party weekend at a cabin in the woods is where the story starts. It was so fun to write, and I thought about it for so many years that it was just a joy.
Oh, wow. That was like the perfect way to describe it. Like, I wonder what was the inspiration behind the hockey player because I'm a huge hockey fan when I read my books. So I love a hockey romance, and so I loved everything in this. And it started off in such a fun environment. Like, you don't usually have books start off that, like, in the cabin, bachelorette, bachelor party. Like, that was just amazing.
As a matter of fact, when I had it pretty much written and done, and I gave it to my sister Lynn,
Hmm.
and I asked her to look through the first like 25 pages. And that started off so like explosive on page two. And she said basically cut everything and start at the fight in the kitchen. So she is responsible for that, just beginning kind of thrown out there, I guess.
Oh, wow. That I love getting to hear the behind the scenes stories because, like, when we're reading the books, we don't know like what led to that actually happening, like what led to the thought process of that. So that's actually so funny. I also gotta say, I love the way you write is so relatable. Like I was laughing so much reading this, like I was cackling. I'm a cackler.
Me too.
Yeah, see?
Well, thank you. Yeah, I was going to say the characters just kind of, once you have them in your mind, they kind of take on a life of their own. So it's one of those situations where I felt like it was them talking, not me. And it was just the easiest thing in the world as far as their banter and conversations and things like that.
Oh yeah. So would you say the sentiment is true? Like some authors I know they say they sort of like listen to their characters, like they let them like control once they get on the page, like where it ends up. Is that how you feel when you write?
I think so. I felt with this one, and it was just so easy to write. And I think once you have thought about the characters for a while, and I kind of tend to, before I write anything, I kind of have it all in my mind already kind of played out a little bit. And so I felt like when I was writing it, somebody was like sitting on my shoulder, just telling me what to write. I mean, it wrote in like 2.5 months. It was done. And it was just, yeah, it was the easiest thing. It was kind of weird, but yeah, it was super cool.
A good weird.
Yes, exactly.
Wow, that's really quick to put like a whole, a whole story together. So you knew like where you basically wanted them to end up at the end, like you already had that planned out too.
Right. I had kind of the end before I had the middle. I didn't
Ooh.
know exactly what was going to happen with the brother initially. You know what I mean? How that was going to kind of play out a little bit. And it was just making certain I had, because so many friends are involved in the story, I wanted to make sure to have them in the proper way. You know what I mean? Enough into the story where you knew their personalities, But once I figured that portion out, everything else just kind of went pretty smoothly, I thought.
Yeah, it was all tied together so beautifully, and like it was such a cohesive story, like how it all worked together. And like I said, you had the swoon, you had the laugh out loud moments. I was like, the dialogue was cracking me up the entire time. And I've highlighted so much on my Kindle. I don't have it with me, but like I highlighted so much.
Thank you. That makes me so happy. Every time someone new reads it or I get it to somebody, I just am nervous. You know what I mean? You're just afraid somebody's gonna not get it or so it makes me so happy to hear you liked it and read it and enjoyed it.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm so happy to get to talk about it. Has writing always been like sort of your path, or did it just sort of come to you later?
It didn't, I think, until after college, you know what I mean? That type of thing. I
Mhm.
was not even a big reader in high school. I mean, I liked books, and when I read one, I would not put it down. I'd be done in a day. So I always loved that. But I was just, going along. And then I would say probably about 11 years ago, I really took, the step at just trying to see if I could actually do one from start to finish and have all of the elements that are needed, that type of thing.
Mhm.
But it's a lot of stories that are probably not very good and a lot of rejection before you actually, you know what I mean, get to anywhere promising. But yeah, so I would say, yeah, probably about 10 and a half years ago is when I started to seriously try and see where it could go, I guess.
Oh wow, that's so beautiful.
Takes a long time.
Yeah,
Please,
hey, everything that's worthwhile takes time, does it not? So
for sure.
yeah, so what made you decide on romantic comedy? Like it just came natural to you, like
Exactly. Well, it's funny, my sister Lynn, she is an amazing writer.
Mhm.
And just 3 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, we went to Minneapolis together on a road trip for the Midwest Bookish Fest, which was
Ooh,
amazing.
yeah.
And it was my first like book thing, officially. And we were talking on the way up there, and she brought up something I'd never really thought of. When we were growing up, our mom was a single, or not a single, I'm sorry, she was married, but she was a stay-at-home mom. Yes, summer vacation and Christmas break and after school, she watched Young and the Restless, General Hospital. She watched all that. And so my sister and I were sitting there watching them probably from age 7 on. And then, the romantic comedy movies. And I think it's just, you don't even know what you're kind of absorbing.
Yeah.
But it's just, yeah, when I decided to write, that was just the only thing that, it felt like it was just what I had to do if I was going to give it a shot.
Oh wow. That's amazing. And I love how that's where like it was sort of instilled from you from like the beginning. Because like I can relate to that because when I was younger, my aunt used to love the watch Young and the Restless and General Hospital, all that. Yeah. So I was like younger and I would be like sitting in there with my cousins. We might be playing with dolls or whatever, and that be on in the background. It's just so funny.
Yeah, it's like the same thing. We were probably watching Forbidden Love when we were like 7, you know. So I think after all those years, you're like, well, that's what I need to do is talk about Forbidden Love and all that crazy stuff. But yeah,
Exactly, just sort of comes full circle.
I think so.
Yeah. And I gotta say, I love how unique our female main character's name is. Like, what made you choose that?
Well, Fern Ethel Novotny was actually my grandmother.
Oh,
So, I mean, yeah, the name. I took the name. And again, when I decided to write, anything regarding Minnesota, which I find to be, I just love, I love it there. My sister and I grew up in a military family. So we were always living away from Minnesota, but we go there for all of our trips and family visits. And it's just been kind of a magical place. So when I was just picking character names there, every character in there is either like Tawny is a cousin of mine. I just used all my cousins' names in the book, and they're all up in Minnesota. Dan is my cousin. Andy, I mean, they're all, in there. So Fern Ethel Novotny was my grandmother's name. So I loved it.
yeah, that is wow. I love how that's like so deeply connected. Like that has to I'm sure like all books, like when authors write, they feel like it's a piece of their soul. You pour a piece of you into it, but like there has to be even more special when you have little hidden instances in there,
Right.
little sprinkles
Yeah.
of your own life, you should say.
Yeah. So that, yeah, every character in there, I think I went back when I did my final edit, and just to make certain I didn't have a random name, I just made this book like every name in there is somebody I know, I love, I knew, whatever. So yeah, it's kind of, I enjoyed doing that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that has to be such a fun experience to be able to be like, so do you warn your family or your friends like, hey, if you read this book, you're gonna see a little bit of yourself, or do you just let it be a surprise?
I told my cousin Tawny not too long ago because we were up there in Minnesota for the Bookish Fest, and that's where she lived. So we hung out with all my cousins, and yeah, I think I mentioned in passing, now that they've read the book, but I didn't really tell them until it was all said and done. And like the Katie in there is, I have two good friends, and they're both named Katie, so I gave them a heads up. You're in, your names are in the book, but yeah, so it's just, and then when you're writing, you kind of take maybe a little bit of their personality and twist it in there, so it's fun.
Yeah, it would have to be such a, I don't know, like such a magical experience to be able to tie it in with you so like deep in your heart. And
Mhm.
it just makes it that much more special. And then readers can connect. Like once like, I would never have known that if we didn't have this conversation, like
Right.
so
Yeah,
it's just really amazing when you get to hear the little snippets behind the scenes of what's going on.
I agree. I like, the authors that I read, I try and find out. I love to know the background story of things. So I agree.
Yeah. What authors or genres do you like to read? What are some of your favorites?
I'm trying to break out of only reading rom-coms because I just love them. I love them. I love them.
Hey.
And so some of my favorite are Allie Hazel. I have my pile. I've got Allie Hazelwood, Tessa Bailey. I recently read this one. And then I've been doing a reread of what did I When in Rome, I recently reread. Just because before I buy any new books, I'm like, you know what? I love this and I don't remember why. So I went ahead and I've been doing lots of rereads over the last few months. Or if I run into a situation where I'm stuck in my own story, I find reading other people's books, it just gets your mind thinking about other stuff. So it works out pretty well.
Oh yeah, like sort of like a workaround writer's block per se, maybe.
Exactly. If I'm like, I don't know what to do, I'll just read someone else's words, and then it just kind of just gets maybe the inspiration going. I don't know. Ideas, fresh ideas, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah. That would have to be like somewhat helpful to sort of break the monotony of like, oh, I can't get out of my own head for a minute.
I know, because by the time you're writing it, you've read it like 100 times, and sometimes you just need to not read it for a while. And so, yeah, I find, and that's so fun. I just love, yeah, I love all, I mean, of course, my sisters. I'm actually just reading, what is that? My gosh, the bet one, betting on you.
Yeah.
I picked that up forever ago, and then I didn't finish it. And so I'm finishing it probably in the next few days because I love her writing too. So yeah, it's always fun.
Yeah, she's one of my favorite YA authors. Like I have her special edition of Betting on You right here on my shelf. And
Yes.
so yeah, and so I love all of those that you mentioned, like Allie Hazelwood. I have yeah, Tessa Bailey. I was just sent her arc from HarperCollins and I lost my mind.
I just grabbed, what was it, window shopping, because I need a smaller, I didn't want to dive into a 400-page book, and that was a little bit smaller. So I read it, of course, in a day. My husband's like, so you're doing nothing today? I'm like, nope, nothing.
Nothing, nothing at all. That's a great thing though, because like when they're almost so short, they sort of compare to like a novella or yeah, like or little short stories, like where it's just like enough to be a palate cleanser when you need it.
Right. I agree.
Yeah, I feel like we're the same person in a lot of ways.
I feel like we should go. I've heard they have the book cruises, where readers just all go on a cruise together. I think we all need some of that. I
I
think,
I think we do. So you said that the Bookish convention there was your first time, was it your first time attending as an author or as a reader or both?
as an author, well, and my sister, and because I had my first book come out in September of last year,
Mhm.
and my sister and some people were like, you should do a book signing, but I knew, no, a lot of people don't know me, so I kind of held off. I haven't really done one here in Omaha, but when there was a chance to go up and meet other authors and hang out, with other readers, and that sounded really fun. And once my sister said she was going, I'm like, we have to go. So
Yeah.
it was the best weekend. It was the Midwest Bookish Fest. It was in Minneapolis like 2 weeks ago, I think.
Oh
But it
wow.
was super.
Yeah, I've heard of that. I live in Kentucky, so I'm quite a bit away from that. But like if y'all ever come to
You know
like
what? Where are we going? I'm going with Lynn. Lynn has a book coming out. And I'm going with her next week to she has a little book tour in Chicago. I know she's going somewhere in Kentucky, but I don't remember where. So yes, I'll be in your neck of the woods next week.
oh wow, I love that. Well,
I
hi.
have no idea where, but somewhere
Somewhere.
in Kentucky.
This was actually my first year ever attending book conventions because I just got back into reading last year. Because I would just reread, as you were saying earlier, my favorite books over and over. And then
Yeah.
last year, funny enough, actually the very first book that I picked up was better than the movies by your sister.
Yay. So good.
Yeah, so that was like the book that started my rediscovery of love of reading because I actually heard about it from my favorite YouTuber's recommendation video. And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try reading again. And so now I'm like running out of bookshelves. So that's fun.
I, that's awesome, though. I do love that book.
Yes, it's great. I'm really excited that you are dipping your toes into the bookish convention world because I would love to catch you if you ever are here or if I find out where you're in Kentucky.
That would be awesome. Yes. So I had so much fun. I mean, just, yeah, everybody was amazing. So for my first thing, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I feel like that's not always the most like common experience for your first time, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it's always an iffy thing because you're trying something new, you don't know, how it's going to go, what it's all about until you actually are there and have experienced it before and know what to expect. So,
Yes, I agree.
what is one of your favorite things about being in this community, in this career?
Well, this has just been a dream come true. And as a writer, a lot of times you don't ever think it will come true. If I could flash back 10 years ago when I was trying to get an agent and it was just rejection after rejection. It would have been nice if somebody in the future could have said, just stick home, don't cry anymore. It's going to happen, because you get so frustrated. So I am so grateful beyond words at even here having my second book out and more coming out. I'm just like pinch me every day. So I'm so grateful for that. And I mean, I really wasn't on Instagram too often until my first book was coming out.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I feel like now I have all these friends. I mean, it's like, truly, it's like friendships grow, you know what I mean? That type of thing. And so I've just been blown away by the support, by the new friends, and just learning what everyone else is reading and thinking, and everybody kind of has the same mindset. So I have just thoroughly enjoyed it.
I'm so happy to hear that because I know for one thing, I'm excited to know that you plan on continuing doing this because I may have just discovered your books, but you are going to be an auto-buy author for me, just so you know.
Yay.
So you definitely found your path, and I'm happy you kept pursuing it, and now you get to do this and share your words with the world and let your readers get to enjoy it and know your characters and want to be a part of your literary world that you create.
Thank you. It's just such an honor. Yeah, I just still am like over the moon that any of this has happened. So
It'd have to be like such an amazing thing. Like I never expected my life to be this like a year ago. I just made a bookstub page because I was like, I want a place where I can talk about books, where people are there that understand the love of books and the love of reading. And I just wanted that like companionship over shared love, of literature. And so the fact that I now have a podcast, I work in the industry, and I'm talking to you right now blows my mind, and I'm just so thankful for it.
me too. When you reached out, I was like, wow, I can't believe someone wants to talk to me. I'm just, it's so nice to actually, meet you in person. You know what I mean? That type of thing. It's amazing.
Yeah, yeah, well it's an honor to have you on here. So thank you for being game because oh my gosh, I loved your book and I can't wait to read everything from you in the future.
Thank you.
So, what do you think you would be doing had you not started writing? Where would you have seen yourself?
I think I just would have always been just an avid reader. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Just because I've always loved, you know what I mean? Just reading other people's stuff. So I think I would be doing everything, but I would just be just the reader, the crazy reader who can't get enough books. So that's probably where I would have ended up, as far as that goes. But I feel like I just knew even, before 10 years ago that there was something I was supposed to do. It's just kind of figuring out. I think everybody has that, trying to figure
Yeah.
out, yeah, exactly what that is, whether it's, you know what I mean, a career or a family, whatever it might be. But yeah, I just am so beyond grateful to have found it because all I want to do is sit at my computer. So it's just like a dream come true.
It sounds like your dream found you. Then that's great to know that you still would have been adjacent to this world had you not discovered that. But I'm happy you did discover that you wanted to write.
Me too. I love it.
I know it's probably hard because I think authors relate to everything that they write, and which is totally understandable. But did you have a favorite moment like while you were writing this book in particular while in Minnesota?
I think, well, initially, I mean, it was almost like a high when I wrote it because I had written it, I'd written kind of a version of it, I think in like 2021. And I was trying to, and actually, several of my books that are coming out, I wrote as screenplays at one time or another, just because my mind works, everything I write, I see like a movie, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so it's so hard to break into that industry, I would say almost, it's nearly impossible. And then after a while of not being able to find a contact or anything, that was when I went ahead and I think it was just then when I decided to make a book, it was a challenge of finding out if you can write a book. You know what I mean? Just kind of going that way as far as that goes. So it just took a while to kind of figure out which direction to go in, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. That's really exciting though. Like I love that, the experience can be just as fun for authors creating it as it is for readers experiencing it.
Yes, for sure. I agree.
Like I said, I love hockey, so I'm happy that was included because I'm a hockey romance girly. Like, do you read hockey romance? I know you said you like hockey, but
I did. Recently, I read The Deal, and I really like that. So I've got to get the other ones in those series because for some reason I am missing out on that. Everyone else seems to already be there, and I'm just not. So there you go.
yeah, exactly. You're jumping on the wagon now.
I think so. I have to because it was just such a good book, and I enjoyed it so much. So, and I think I read that after I'd written Wild in Minnesota, but just you know what I mean. Just I just love hockey. I'm such a Minnesota Wild fan, and so I just enjoyed it so much that I could definitely see a hockey book coming too.
Yeah, yeah. I know we don't want to give any spoilers or anything, but do you have a favorite scene or quote from the book in particular, from your book?
Let me think here. I think I love how it opens. I love the kitchen fight, on page 2. And that was my goal was to have it just I do like say like a movie in my brain and I like to read stuff that kind of action and lots of stuff going on. So that was kind of my goal when I wrote it. So I think I like the opening scene is probably one of my very favorite. And then there's a scene in there where she kind of fake dates her friend for a little while at the very end. And I love that. I think that I should have a book of his own. I loved him. He was kind of a last minute, like, which she should pick it also. So yeah, so those are probably my two favorite parts of the book, if I had to say. And then I did like, and after, when was it? It was after it was already going to be published and I was doing edits. I
Yeah.
decided to add, I wanted to have a high speed chase in there with guns, which I was like, I wonder how I can do that. So that was just like a challenge. Like, can we put a high speed chase in Rom-Com? So that was just, a fun area I liked also.
Oh wow, so that was an addition like during edits.
Right. I just suddenly thought we should see if that can be a rom-com. I think it could. And then yeah, she was a nurse, so her, doing stitch. I mean, it's just, one of those kind of after it was already thought of, but yeah, I thought it was fun to kind of add that.
That is so funny getting to hear that that's when that came into play. I love that so much.
Yeah, it was because then I'm like, because then I had mentioned to my husband was not concerned. I'm like, there's a lot going on in this book. You know what I mean? We have high speed chase, we have, fights in the kitchen, and you know what I mean? I just, you hope people are looking at that when they're reading. You know what I mean? As far as that goes.
Yeah, yeah. Oh wow. That, like I said, this book has a little bit of everything for everyone. So I think everybody would enjoy it. No matter the genres that you normally read. It has everything. Little sprinkles of this, sprinkles of that, and it was just all around a great, amazing time.
Well, thank you. I'm so glad you liked it. I'm happy people are.
Yeah, I'm so happy that I got introduced to your books by one of my friends online, and so I am so happy that we're getting to do this week.
Me
If you could describe your main characters in just a few words, which ones would you choose? I feel like that's an interesting question.
Yeah, it is. I think I'd probably choose Fern in Wild in Minnesota just because I love, and this wasn't really originally planned, but she was kind of like a tomboy. I mean, she grew up with a hockey brother and she wasn't all girly girly and she could, shoot a gun and, you know what I mean, that type of thing. And I thought she was so fun
Yeah.
just as, yeah, a different type of unique person, I suppose. So that was one I really enjoyed.
Oh yeah, that's a great one.
And Madison in my first book, I did like her too, because she went from, kind of being wealthy to fish out of water and having no money. So she was also very fun. I like both. And I have a young adult one coming out in March 2026. And that has a character in there that kind of is a little bit more of a tomboy as well. But they're still definitely feminine, but has those traits of, being able to handle herself and take care of things that need to be taken care of.
Exactly. And I was a tomboy when I was little. Like I'm the biggest girly girl ever now, but I live in the country and so like you better believe I was climbing trees, I was playing in the creeks, I was
It's more
doing
fun.
yeah, exactly, riding four-wheelers.
For sure.
So I can totally get that. What are some of the things that you hope your readers take away when they pick up one of your books? Like what do you hope leaves a lasting impression?
I think and through the characters, I think in all of our lives, we just need to, when you're not down, because of course in a romantic comedy, there's going to be points where people are knocked down and they have to pick themselves up and start over even. And I think, it's just a reminder. I like to read a book where, you see people go through some things and it just reminds us all that we're not alone and that regardless of your situation, you have to, have that belief in yourself and, the positivity, I guess, to go forward, even if things haven't gone exactly as you hoped they would.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that makes books so much, I don't know, even more relatable because like you see little bits of yourself maybe in there or like how you're feeling and maybe someone's never actually put that into words before until they like read your book and you're like, "Oh my gosh, this is me right now. This is how what I'm thinking. This is what I'm doing."
Mm-hmm. I agree.
It's just such a wholesome community and I love being a part of it. I love getting to share recommendations, share reads, and just share a love for literature across all of the social media and be able to find books that connect with you, that connect with your friends, that like speak to each person individually because reading is subjective, and so it's always so interesting to see what hits home for who.
I agree. I know everything is, and everyone sees it all. You can read something that just, you read it completely different way than someone else might. So yeah, it is. It's so interesting. I love it.
It's just a magical thing. I don't know how else to describe books than magic. What does it look like for you? I know it's different for everybody, but do you have a certain method to what it looks like when you get in the writing zone? Like, is there a certain must-have beverage or like a comfort song playlist that you do?
Yes. Well, and I need to cut back. I always just Coke. Coke. I drink a little bit of like tea and stuff, but I primarily look forward to Coke and cookies like when I write, which is not good. Chocolate and Coke. So that would be my go-to, I suppose. And then, yeah, So that's probably it. And
Well,
I'm
I think,
usually in sweats or something comfortable.
yeah, exactly. That would be very comforting. I can't function without iced coffee, so that's my go-to. So I can totally get the must-have drinks, and cookies are just the best. So that would have to be a fun experience.
Right. You can't go wrong with chocolate. And
No,
then, yeah, usually I write super early in the morning a lot of times. So yeah, I'll go ahead and crack open a Coke, you know what I mean, at,
yeah,
5 a.m. or 4:30 and start it that way, even though they probably should.
4:30.
That's my goal a lot of times because then it's just before the day. You know what I mean? I think
Yeah.
your brain works really well earlier. So yeah. So I'm usually up with my caffeine quite early, hoping to have great ideas.
Well, I think that's a great strategy you have there. And yeah, like your brain wakes up before the sun even wakes up. So,
Right, right. I think yeah, for me, everything, if you have trouble writing at night, it seems like in the morning something has happened overnight. Your brain is just kind of fresh. And yeah, it's just, I love morning writing. So
yeah. Well, I know I have kept you on here for a minute, but is there anything that you would, I know you mentioned your YA book coming up, but is there
yeah,
anything that
yeah,
you would like to hint at for our listeners that they can expect from you next?
yes. Well, and I haven't really announced anything because I'm still waiting on like a cover and stuff, but I do have a adult Christmas holiday rom-com that'll be out this fall. So, and it's called Holiday on the Rocks. And so that's coming. And like I said, I don't have a final cover yet or anything, so I haven't said anything anywhere. And then I have in February or March of 2026, my first young adult, which is called Worst Idea Ever. And so I love that one so much. And that was one I wrote as a screenplay probably in 2019. And you know what I mean? And it's just, I love the story. And I just, yeah, last year I went out, got back out and made it into a book. And I love it so much. And then in next July, I think it is, I have an adult rom-com that's entitled Ding Dong, I'm Home. And that's kind of a high concept. And I love that story so much. So that is one I'm looking forward to. And then in February of 2027, I have a football rom-com. It's called Quarterback Blitz, and that's an adult one as well. So I've got some stuff coming out.
Oh my gosh. Well, first off, you are keeping the community fed, so thank you for that. And yeah, and secondly, I am the biggest football girly ever, so you could not have said something even more exciting.
Yeah.
I'm happy that's another
Yay. Super.
yeah, football is just I just love it. Football, I'm a football and baseball girly, like when I go to the games or watch it on TV, but like I love to read hockey romance. So it's
Yay. I think it's going to be good. So yeah, hopefully I'm just so excited to have lots of things coming. You know what I mean?
oh yeah, it's gonna be a
So eventually it pays off, I guess, when you have nothing, you just keep writing. Even when you have nothing going on, before you even find an agent, just keep writing, keep writing, keep writing.
exactly. Then you'll be ready for whatever comes next.
Yes, it's my daughter.
Oh, nothing like some family photo bombs. I have my dog down here.
Right. There you go. Oh,
My little writing and editing buddy.
nice. That's me. That's what you need.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you so much for guesting on this week. It has been an absolute pleasure getting to talk with you. It's been so much fun, and I cannot wait for everything coming from you in the future.
Well, thank you. And thank you for having me. Thank you for doing all you do. And we look forward to everything you have. I look forward to it. So it's amazing to see what you do and see what you share. I love it.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I'm so happy that we connected on here and so happy I ran across your account. And then my friend was like, I loved her books. You need to give them a try. And I'm like, I've been wanting to. And so I picked one up and that was that. And here we are.
Well, thank you for giving it a chance. I appreciate every single person who's willing to, be somebody who's not known or anything at this point. I appreciate everybody who gives my stuff a chance. So I'm beyond grateful.
Well, of course. And don't worry, you will be very well known soon, I am sure. Putting it out there in the world.
There
Um,
you go. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And for our listeners, I will link all of Mary Lee's socials down below where you can find her books and read all about her and give her a follow.
Well, thank you so much for that. I appreciate it.
Of course, thank you so much.